Hello, everyone. I'm Adriana Cotero, and I am joined with the administrators with Harvest Christian Academy. So there's a few of them on here, so I'm going to have each and every single one of you introduce yourselves and then tell me your titles as well, if you could please.
Good day, Adriana. I'm Jeremy Zychek. I'm the administrator for the Academy.
And my name is Lawrence Nangast, and I'm the high school principal here at Harvest Christian Academy.
My name's Josh Taylor. I'm the man in the middle, 4th through 8th grade principal.
My name is Joy Stouffer. I'm the lower elementary principal for K3 through 3rd grade.
And thank you all for joining me. So we're here to address some current concerns that Harvest Christian Academy has in regards to online learning. There was a letter that was authored by all 4 of you. So if someone wants to just take the lead to just outline the background information on what this letter entails.
Thanks, Adriana. Appreciate the opportunity. We just want to add to the narrative about COVID and some of the impacts of COVID. Of course, as we pay attention to the news, our hearts grieve with the 26 people that have lost their lives to the virus, including the most recent news of the 10-year-old that had COVID as well. And so we pray for families, we pray for the situation, we pray for our island, and we really pray for the day when this virus is no longer on our island and we can go back to quote normal, what that looks like. The 4 of us wrote this article really because there's just a lot of impact that COVID is having on education. We hear frequently from the government, of course, which is good. We pray for them and appreciate their role. We hear from the Chamber of Commerce, right? Tourism, the medical community. And we just felt as though adding a voice from the educational standpoint is very, very important. To be frank, we have been without school, save one day. We were able to have one day in face-to-face operation prior to moving from PCOR 3 back to PCOR 1. Take that day aside, it's been over 170 days since most of the children on this island have received face-to-face education. And there's a lot of interesting stories out there, and our teachers are working very, very hard from an online standpoint. But we just want to say, as much as we're trying to engage students, that online education isn't a substitute for face-to-face education. In our article, which is linked on our Facebook page, we talk about learning trajectories. A lot of the students didn't have a 4th quarter. We were able to patch together a 4th quarter of last year, but still it wasn't the same as face-to-face education. Social development, that's key. When we give an example in the article of if you were unable to have a face-to-face relationship with your child, how would that be affected over the course of 170 days? Let's say you could do unlimited Zoom and talk to them on the phone. The reality is your relationship with your child would change from a distance standpoint. And Josh has some really great examples. We've been chatting about this in the office of teachers that have made a difference in his life. So maybe I'll give him an opportunity just to share teachers make a difference. And we really just want to help communicate that key point.
Yeah, I've got a son right now in 1st grade, and learning how to read, super complicated process while you're there in school. I remember back to my 1st grade teacher, Miss Boyd, and the way that she took me, like the only thing I was really good at was being able to baa like a sheep. And, I was the best, but then she took me from that to actually being able to know how to read words, sentences, and without her help, man, I'd have been toast. I think in 5th grade, I had Mr. Smith, and he was I realized, we went to the playground one time, and older kids came out and they took over the spot from us, even though it was our recess time. And Mr. Smith came up and said, hey, high schoolers, I love you, but it's not your turn. And I was like, man, my teacher taking care of us. I think in geometry, good old proofs and theorems, I was as lost as could be with that. And Mrs. Seidel was the teacher that I had who turned my frustration into success. And like geometry is my favorite math that I've ever had. And it was because of her. It had nothing to do with me enjoying theorems and proofs. It had the fact that she taught me how to be successful with it and that I could accomplish it. My senior year, everyone's talking about college and what are you going to do? And I'm like, I have no clue at all. But Mrs. Hageman, my lit teacher, has been amazing. Even though she put me like in 12 different spots in the classroom because I would never stop talking, she also never stopped teaching and pointing me towards truth. And when I got to my freshman year of college and you had to declare a major, I'm like, oh, I can't believe I'm doing this. But Mrs. Hageman, I'm going into education, and how the Lord then directed that, and I've been doing it for the last 19 years, and that's just a handful of teachers that I would not have been set up for the position where I'm in now if it weren't for those teachers being able to be available to me before class, after class, during class, at my basketball games, coming and seeing them in the stands, even though Mrs. Hageman was always grading papers in the stands while she would come to our basketball games, she was still there. So it's just the difference they've made.
I agree with that. I think that I personally would not be in my career path that I have chosen if it wasn't for my teachers. But do you feel that they cannot make that transition to online and still provide that same assistance to students? To further guide and, direct them in where their potential careers could be?
That's a great question. Well, Josh, you answer that, but maybe even Dr. Joy can contribute from an elementary standpoint, and then Lawrence from high school, because the challenges are going to be vastly different in those different ages.
Sure. For the youngest ones, it is very difficult. The technology, the parents are having to be right there to help with all the interaction. Just their attention span, their ability to stay engaged is so limited. And in the classroom, you'd be doing hands-on activities, you'd be getting up and moving and singing and all those different things to keep them learning. So the teachers are doing a great job. I'm so impressed every time I watch what they're doing to build the relationship, but the impact is definitely there. It is so much more difficult, even as Josh was saying, on the academic side, the social side, having somebody right next to you to help you makes all the difference in the world.
Definitely. So you feel that this voice for education hasn't really been heard on the government level then, and that's what you guys are essentially doing with this letter. Have you guys received any word? I think it's P-Core 3, right? Whenever schools could actually ever enter face-to-face. So is there any word that we're not going to be in P-Core 3 for a while? Is that what's kind of leading up to this this letter that you guys wrote?
Our desire really isn't to make this, a political statement or say, so-and-so isn't doing a great job. We understand the complexity and really, the difficult situation that the governor is in, trying to balance economics and, the capacity of our medical system and education. And so we don't want to make this overly political and say we just want to add to the narrative that we need to keep considering just the consequences, because I think they're building. The longer we go where we don't have face-to-face education, I think those consequences are going to keep building. And we need to at least think and just start the conversation right now. What are those consequences going to be in the future? And how can we prepare now for helping to write some of those consequences?
How long was Harvest Christian Academy, how long was the school year? Were you guys in school in session for about a week or two before we went back to P-Core 1?
We had one glorious day with our students based on our,
one day.
Yeah, we had one glorious day with our students. And then that Friday we shifted and we're sending materials home with parents to prepare for P-Core, which started on Saturday. Yeah.
Right. It was an instant shift. I remember reporting on it even just for GDOE schools as well. So when it comes to allowing operations to occur in class, has there been any assistance that you guys have been provided through the CARES Act funding or GDOE, that's including for necessary PPE and any other resources you may need? Do you feel confident that you'd be able to go back to face-to-face operations with the assistance?
Yeah, Lawrence has been really a key instrument in those conversations. I'll let him chime in there.
Sure. The predominant funds we've received, or I shouldn't say funds, but materials, has been in the PPE area, which was for the in-person face-to-face education. So masks and hand sanitizer, Those did come early. We were able to procure those back in the middle of August. And then a few small things like more masks or some rubbing alcohol have also come in over a period of time. One thing that is being done right now is a larger quote and procurement process for GDOE and some of the PNP or private nonprofit schools is taking place right now in some of the technology. And so I think there was a news article about that, the laptops and other tablets coming out soon for students. We're kind of part of that, just a small part as one of the private nonprofits on the island. But over the next, I would say, 3 to 6 weeks, there should be some more of these things getting to the island and getting in the hands of the kids and teachers, because that CARES Act was for basically the school's facility was a part, and then there was also technology and resources for both educational help and mental help on the student and teacher side of things. So I would say some of the necessities they tried to rush here to start school got here, but now that we're online and just the fact that we live on Guam, it does take a little longer for some things to get both procured and then get sent to Guam and dispersed amongst the students. So I would say over the next month, we should be seeing some more progress towards actually having things here on island.
And I know that also with other, Catholic schools and private schools, there's been concerns from parents about tuition being handled with online learning. Have you guys had any parents address the same concern, or how is tuition being handled with online learning for Harvest?
We actually released a survey to parents just this past week, just asking for feedback on various elements of online learning. And we didn't ask specifically about the financial component of it. We know the economic impact on our island. We hear about that. Each one of us has conversations on a weekly basis with parents that are struggling. Our hearts go out to them. What's tricky and difficult is that our teachers are working really more hours than they would in a face-to-face setting. And the resources it takes for us to continue to support an online platform and program is equivalent to, save the utilities, it's equivalent to face-to-face education. And so we're doing our best trying to, let parents know the value of things that are coming through. And, it's a bit of a difficult message. We're here today saying face-to-face education is the best, and it is. But it still takes tremendous amount of effort to deliver things from an online standpoint.
And I just want to go back to, you had mentioned the 26th death, right, which was a 10-year-old. So, of course, that also raises concerns as it was a young child. Is that something else you guys find as a concern if we do go back into school? And we also saw when GDOE had that first week, and I know that you guys are Harvest, but a lot of the employees started testing positive. So there's always that concern of positive cases coming. How would Harvest address a positive case?
Yeah, so far we've been blessed and we've not had a positive case among our staff members. Of course, that's a potential. I was talking with Josh just this morning about the impact on our families, and we've been impacted. Our families have been impacted by someone that has had COVID or has passed away, and those are very, very difficult things. Our hearts, all that we can do is pray and comfort, and do what we can, to help them. And so it's a reality and it's a challenge. And we're not suggesting, throw caution to the wind, let's come back face to face and let's everyone get it. We're just saying when the time is right, let's keep planning, let's keep thinking for the opportunity when we can return to face-to-face education, because it's vitally important to our kids.
So you feel that face-to-face may get disregarded then altogether, and you guys just want to keep that conversation going then?
Yeah, we really think that you can care tremendously about the health of our island and with COVID, and you can also care tremendously about the students that are falling behind. And even if you just look at it like Pastor Jeremy said about the our staff. I mean, teacher burnout is always a thing to be discussed. And now when you don't have the energy of the classroom, the students in there, when you're not seeing the constant progress, it really takes its toll. And I'm speaking as a dad. I've got 7 children at home, 5 of them school age, and 2 of them that would be in childcare. And it's not going well for them. And it has nothing to do with the fact that they aren't trying. My children are trying. It has nothing to do with the fact that their teachers are unbelievable, incredible, bent over backwards over and over and over again, reached out to me as a parent to make sure that they know which assignments are due. They've been unbelievable. But it's not school. As far as being here with the friends, they don't get to have lunch with their friends. They don't get to go to the recess. They don't get to just listen to the normal stories that a teacher would have. They don't get that. My little ones don't get the hugs in the mornings from the teachers. All the things that they need.
Does Harvest plan to send this editorial to any Guam lawmakers or even the governor herself?
We have been in touch with the governor multiple times through conversations, and she knows that our desire is to return to face-to-face education. You know, one of the reasons we want to put this editorial out is we feel as though it will take some time. It's not going to happen overnight, but we need this voice to kind of grow. And so, yeah, you know, we, of course, as we send this out to our parents, we want to know what they're thinking about it. We've already received some really good feedback. Hey, thanks for doing this. And so when the time is right, we hope this all just comes down to just an opportunity to return to face-to-face education.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you all for joining me. Is there anything else anyone would like to add?
We're praying for our island. We're praying for our students.
Okay, perfect. All right. Thank you guys again.
Thank you.
I appreciate it.